They laughed at her age. They mocked her skin. They never imagined her quiet dignity concealed a power that would silence a champion and redefine respect. The morning sun had barely touched the Crimson Mountains when Grandmaster Eleanor Vance, 72, stepped into the Grand Summit Arena. Her crisp white GI and neatly tied black belt stood out like a challenge. She walked with calm authority, head high, her dark skin glowing under the harsh arena lights. Whispers started almost immediately. "Who let someone's grandma in?" a teenager muttered, stifling laughter. Across the room, a woman nudged her daughter. "Poor thing, must be lost, probably looking for her grandkids." Eleanor heard it all, every word, every giggle, but her expression didn't change. Her silence was louder than their mockery. Today was the Regional Martial Arts Championship. The air was thick with sweat, pride, and testosterone. Young fighters stretched, posed, and threw dramatic practice punches. Coaches barked at their students like drill sergeants. Eleanor approached the registration table. The young white woman behind the desk froze when she heard her name. "You're competing?" the attendant asked, blinking. "Yes," Eleanor said calmly. "Special category. I registered months ago." The girl hesitated, then handed over the badge with trembling fingers. "Good luck." Word traveled fast. Within minutes, the arena buzzed with cruel excitement. Is this some charity case? Maybe she's doing a demonstration for senior citizens. Imagine getting hit by her, instant career-ending shame. And then Kian Thorne entered. 6 feet 2 inches, broad-shouldered, with a shaved head and a reputation for arrogance as big as his win streak. A 24-year-old black belt, undefeated for 3 years, white, privileged, and proud of it. The arena seemed to tilt when he arrived. His followers trailed behind like loyal dogs. Kian spotted Eleanor instantly. "Hey! Did the organizers decide to throw in diversity quotas and age limits all at once?" His voice thundered across the room. The crowd burst out laughing. Kian wasn't done. Phone in hand, he started live streaming. "Guys, look who I'm fighting today. A retirement home escapee." He zoomed in on Eleanor's face. "Smile for the camera, Grandma. Tell my fans how it feels stepping into your own funeral." Eleanor lifted her gaze for the first time, not angry, not shaken, just steady, unshaken, powerful. "Respect," she said softly, "isn't given, it's earned." That line hit harder than any punch. A few people fell silent. Kian's smile faltered for a second, but he shook it off. Master Renji, an older tournament official, approached her. "Grandmaster Vance, we know your history. Your championships were legendary. But with your age, and, well..." He hesitated, eyes shifting uncomfortably, unsure if he meant her years or her race. She smiled. "Limitations? We all have them. It's how we use them that matters." Renji sighed and nodded. "If that's your decision, you're in. But some won't go easy on you." "And neither will I," she said. When the match schedule flashed on the giant screen, the whole arena gasped, Kian Thorne versus Vance. Kian stood up dramatically, cracking his knuckles. "Oh, this is going to be fun." The crowd roared with laughter. Eleanor calmly closed her eyes for a brief moment, then stood. Her movements were slow but deliberate, full of discipline sharpened by decades. And as she stepped onto the mat, you could feel the weight of prejudice fill the air. Kian couldn't resist one last jab, loud enough for everyone to hear. He called out, "Hey, Black Grandma. Hope you signed your life insurance papers before walking in here." Gasps and nervous chuckles followed. Eleanor stood in the center of the mat, bowing respectfully. Kian bowed too, but with an exaggerated, mocking flourish. The referee signaled the start. Kian began with lazy footwork, dancing circles around her like a predator toying with prey. "Come on, old lady, show me that senior strength." He lunged suddenly, swinging a light jab toward her shoulder, more for show than a hit. She didn't even blink. He laughed. "You should be home knitting or drinking sweet tea, not embarrassing yourself in front of hundreds of people. Somewhere in the crowd, a boy whispered, "She's not scared." Kian went for a spinning kick, fast, sharp, aimed at her head. Gasps rippled, but Eleanor shifted just one step, the kick missed. Kian stumbled forward. For the first time all day, he looked unsure. The arena fell silent. And just as Kian turned, preparing another arrogant charge, Eleanor finally moved. "Aren't you going to react? Just going to stand there?" Kian barked, circling Grandmaster Vance with growing frustration. "This is karate, not a meditation class." The crowd split, some laughed louder, but others exchanged curious glances. Eleanor hadn't fallen. She hadn't attacked. But she also hadn't let him land a single real hit. Kian launched a high kick, she blocked. He threw a direct punch, she dodged with effortless grace. His smirk slowly faded, replaced by irritation. This wasn't the humiliating spectacle he'd imagined. His movements grew more aggressive, but Eleanor's breathing stayed calm, measured. She observed, analyzed. Kian's frustration spilled over. "Listen, you old woman," he panted, sweat dripping. "You think an old faded black belt makes you untouchable? This is my territory, got it?" The referee flashed a yellow card for unsportsmanlike conduct. Kian barely noticed. Something in Eleanor shifted for the first time. She stepped forward. Instinctively, Kian recoiled half a step. Their eyes locked. "Karate isn't about territory, boy," she said softly. "It's about spirit. And you've lost yours." Before he could react, her first strike came, sharp, direct, center of gravity. Kian's body crashed to the mat with a thud. He blinked at the ceiling, dazed. The arena froze. The referee lifted his hand, a clear point for Eleanor. She returned to her stance, calm, unaffected. Kian scrambled up, eyes wide, pride shattered. Now he charged wildly. She stayed fluid, dodging, blocking, countering with control. Then, during a reckless lunge, Kian miscalculated. Eleanor seized the moment. A clean hip throw. Kian fell to his knees. The crowd erupted, some cheering, others frozen in disbelief. When the referee raised her hand, signaling Eleanor's victory, the arena exploded with applause. Kian sat stunned, gasping for air, drenched in sweat, but the worst pain was internal, shame. Eleanor bowed with dignity to Kian, to the referee, to the audience, then turned to leave. Pausing briefly, she glanced back at him. "He who fights with anger," she said, "loses long before the match begins." As she walked off, the crowd gave her a standing ovation. For a moment, the arena was silent. Then wave after wave of applause followed her exit. Kian remained kneeling, staring at the floor. His friends, once loud and rowdy, stood awkwardly, exchanging glances. No one spoke. Some drifted away, unwilling to face him. The referee approached, offering Kian a hand. He refused, standing on his own, still trembling. Outside, Eleanor passed by young students. One little girl with a yellow belt tugged at her sleeve. "Ma'am, I want to fight like you one day." Eleanor smiled gently. "Then fight with heart and honor. Those who teach you." Parents who had mocked her earlier now applauded. Some whispered apologies. Reporters gathered outside the arena, cameras flashing. The video of Kian's fall had already gone viral. One young journalist rushed over. "Grandmaster Vance, you're trending. Could we get a statement?" She raised an eyebrow, confused. "Trending? What?" The reporter grinned. "Social media. Your fight. It's everywhere." Eleanor faced the camera, voice steady as always. "This wasn't just my fight. It was for every person told they're too old, too weak, or don't belong. For those whose voices were silenced. I fought for them. And to remind the world, respect is earned." Inside, Kian sat alone, staring at a phone screen, replaying his defeat. His face flushed with more than sweat, regret, maybe. Master Renji approached, placing a hand on his shoulder. Kian, today wasn't your loss. It was your lesson. Be grateful you learned it while you're still young. Kian didn't speak, but for the first time in a long time, he listened. The awards ceremony began. To everyone's surprise, Eleanor stepped onto the podium, holding her medal high, not out of pride, but quiet affirmation. Next to her, two much younger girls stood, wiping tears from their eyes. "Thank you, Grandmaster Vance," one whispered. "We'll never forget this." The arena filled with applause again, and somewhere deep inside Kian, something shifted. The awards ceremony began. To everyone's surprise, Grandmaster Eleanor Vance stepped onto the podium, holding her medal high, not out of pride, but quiet affirmation. Next to her, two much younger girls stood, wiping tears from their eyes. "Thank you, Grandmaster Vance," one whispered. "We'll never forget this." The arena filled with applause again, and somewhere deep inside Kian Thorne, something shifted. 6 months later, Kian was back in the arena, but not as a competitor. He was a coach, working with young students, helping them refine their technique, emphasizing discipline and respect. His arrogance had been replaced by a quiet intensity, his sneers by a focused calm. He had found a new purpose, one that allowed him to use his knowledge to build, not just to win. The scars of his public humiliation still remained, but they were now badges of a different kind of honor. He had learned humility. One afternoon, Kian approached Master Renji after a training session. "Master, I want to formally apologize for my behavior that day." Renji smiled. "Your actions here speak louder than any words, Kian. Eleanor Vance taught you a lesson few receive, that true strength lies not in dominating others, but in mastering yourself. She transformed your defeat into a new beginning." Eleanor Vance continued to inspire. Her story, shared globally, resonated with millions, becoming a testament to the power of wisdom over youth, dignity over arrogance. She established the Vance Academy of Authentic Martial Arts, a non-profit dedicated to teaching martial arts to underserved communities, focusing on discipline, self-respect, and inner strength rather than competitive aggression. The academy became a beacon of hope, empowering individuals to overcome personal and societal challenges. One afternoon, visiting the academy, Eleanor watched a young girl practicing a difficult form. The girl stumbled, her face contorted in frustration. Kian, now a lead instructor, knelt beside her, patiently guiding her through the steps. Eleanor smiled. Kian had truly changed. He had embraced the lessons he was taught and was now passing them on. His journey was a living testament to the transformative power of humility. Years later, at a national martial arts summit, Kian Thorne took the stage not as the former arrogant champion, but as a respected figure in the community. "Grandmaster Vance taught me that some defeats are victories in disguise," he said, addressing a captivated audience. "She showed me that true mastery is not about breaking your opponent, but about finding the unbreakable spirit within yourself." Eleanor Vance, now 75, watched from the front row, a serene smile on her face. Her wisdom had created a legacy that spanned generations, touching lives far beyond the confines of a single arena. She had fought for respect, and she had earned it, not just for herself, but for countless others who had been told they didn't belong. If this story of quiet strength, enduring wisdom, and profound transformation touched your heart, subscribe to the channel for more inspiring tales that remind us that the greatest victories are not won with fists, but with dignity, humility, and the courage to fight for what's truly right.